So what made you choose to create a science-based company?
Actually, I've never thought about creating a science-based company. I started my science career as a PhD. I was doing research in the lab, and I was using patient cells, cells from Alzheimer's patients, cells from Down syndrome patients, and I was experimenting with all sorts of reagents and see whether I can recapitulate the disease pathology in the dish. But turns out that the cells we're using in the lab, mostly, they are not actually suited for the experimental purpose, because they are not the type of cells get infected by the disease or affected by the disease. So I was thinking, what's the best approach to create patient cells? And luckily, 2 years ago, there's Nobel Prize winning technology about creating patient cells from skin cells, from cells from urine. So I dived into this technology. I created different type of protocols. I tested a number of things. I made it to work in the lab. So at that point, I was thinking, what's the best way to populate this technology? I was talking to a number of mentors, including some biotech entrepreneurs. I was talking to them about what's the best route to market. So there's one person who inspired me, Jonathan Mueller, who is the founder of Abcam. So I was learning from him how to commercialize this technology. Basically, what we're doing now is taking the easily accessible cell types, such as skin cells or blood cells, and convert them to the disease-affected cell types. So I come from academic research background. So I started the business without thinking this is the business. Yeah. So.
And so you've become an entrepreneur almost in some senses by accident, but now you are an entrepreneur. What do you think about the impact that career has?
Well, it's quite a big impact. To be an entrepreneur, you think from different perspective. You're thinking from more like how to manage people and human resources, more about dealing with people rather than dealing with science. You got to put the right people on the bus, and then you steer the bus to the right directions. So I find it's a lot more to do with talking to people, understand their needs. So currently we're talking to 3 groups of people: investors, customers, and also your employees. Three groups of people are equally important. So I learned a lot from all these people. We're going to meetings with cutting-edge research institutes, and all these people are giving us brilliant ideas, for example, building 3D models of brain. So I find communication is a key in entrepreneurship, and I learned a lot through all these communications with investors, with customers, with our employees. So that's the biggest difference. I think that's the biggest impact had on me, at least. Yeah. In terms of the impact made on the society, I think if I didn't commercialize this technology, then we don't have any competitors in this sense. So nobody will actually provide these easily accessible cells to our customers. And currently we have customers saying, you saved my career. Basically, you saved my project, because we couldn't find the right cell type to do my research on. You provide brain cells, you provide cells from patients, have the right properties. Now we can carry on our projects. So it's a big impact, I think.
Well, and ultimately you could be saving people's lives, because it could be leading to new and better treatments.
Yeah, definitely. So we have people working on regenerative medicine. They're taking cells and inject to the stroke-induced rat brains and see how the cells rescue the brain functions. So there's lots of big research with our cells. Yeah.
And perhaps finally, what advice would you give to a 10-year-old student currently thinking about science amongst other subjects at school?
Wow, I think focus on the subject, and sometimes you don't really know what you want to do. Just like what I started, I wanted to be a scientist, so I dived into the research lab. You don't really know, just follow your heart. This is very important. You don't just constantly influenced by, like people like Mark Zuckerberg. He made $1 billion when he was 19 years old. I mean, I think people, at different stage, they will have different feelings, and especially kids, they are easily influenced by the hype. especially 15-year-old created an app and made a lot of money. But if it is not something you wanted to do, you wanted to follow, then it is not something for you. For a 10-year-old, I would say just focus on the subject in the school and learn, and just feel which direction you want to do and follow your heart. It's important.